Welcome. And today we are taking a little break from the usual drama by checking out some posts from some budding comedians on Reddit. Hi, this is Derek. I just put the Drama Llama, Fred, back in his pen so that I can do this quick video for you with some of the stuff that Fred found on Reddit earlier today. Fred says these posts will help us to wash away all that other drama, so that we don't take ourselves too seriously. Oh boy, let's get ready for some jokes. Crazy for Taco stepped up to the mic with. A drunken man who smelled like beer sat down on the subway next to a priest. The man's tie was stained, his face was plastered with red lipstick, and a half-empty bottle of whiskey was sticking out of his torn coat pocket. He opened his newspaper and began reading. After a few minutes the man turned to the priest and asked, "Say, Father, what causes arthritis?" The priest replied, "My son. It's caused by loose living. Being with cheap, wicked women. Too much alcohol and a contempt for your fellow man. Sleeping around with prostitutes. And a act of bathing." The drunk muttered his response, "Well, I'll be damned," then returned to his paper. The priest, thinking about what he had said, nudged the man and apologized. "I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to come on so strong. How long have you had arthritis?" The drunk answered, "I don't have it, Father. I was just reading here that the Pope does." Hey Shilting stepped up to the mic with. There was a man who worked for the post office whose job was to process all the mail that had illegible addresses. One day, a letter came addressed in a shaky handwriting to God with no address. He thought he should open it to see what it was about. The letter read, "Dear God, I am an 83-year-old widow, living on a very small pension. Yesterday someone stole my purse. It had $100 in it, which was all the money I had until my next pension check. Next Sunday is Christmas, and I had invited 2 of my friends over for dinner. Without that money, I have nothing to buy food with. I have no family to turn to, and you're my only hope. Can you please help me? Sincerely, Edna." The postal worker was touched. He showed the letter to all the other workers. Each one dug into his or her wallet and came up with a few dollars. By the time he made the rounds, he had collected $96, which they put into an envelope and sent to the woman. The rest of the day, all the workers felt a warm glow thinking of Edna and the dinner she would be able to share with her friends. Christmas came and went. A few days later, another letter came from the same old lady to God. All the workers gathered around while the letter was opened. It read, "Dear God, how can I ever thank you enough for what you did for me? Because of your gift of love, I was able to fix a glorious dinner for my friends. We had a very nice day and I told my friends of your wonderful gift. By the way, there was $4 missing. I think it must have been those bastards at the post office." My God, Edna. That's just so wrong. Idea Cafe stepped up to the mic with. A young boy says to his father, "Dad, our math teacher is asking to see you." "What happened?" The father asks. "Well, she asked me, how much is 7 times 9? I answered 63, then she asked, and 9 times 7? So I asked what's the effing difference? Indeed, what is the difference? Asks the father. Sure, I'll go. The next day, the boy comes home from school and says, "Dad, have you gone by the school?" "Not yet." "Well, when you do, come and see the gym teacher also." "Why?" asks the father. "Well, we had a gym class today, and he asked me to raise my left arm, I did. Then my right arm, I also raised it. Then he asked me to lift my right leg, so I did. Now, he says lift your left leg, so I asked, what am I supposed to stand on? My popsicle?" "Exactly," says the father. "All right, I'll come." The next day, the boy asks his father, "Did you go to the school?" "No, not yet." "Don't bother, I got expelled." Surprised, the father asks, "Why did you get expelled?" "Well, they summoned me to the principal's office, and sitting there were the math teacher, the gym teacher, and the art teacher." "The F was the art teacher doing there?" asks the father. "That's exactly what I said." Big Wiggly 69 stepped up to the mic with. I don't like people who take drugs. For example, airport security. Mr. Reddit 206 stepped up to the mic with, someone keyed the music teacher's car. Fortunately, the damage seems to be minor. Lodeman77 stepped up to the mic with, not too sure I got the job. During the interview I got asked, what's your greatest weakness? Interpreting semantics of a question, but ignoring the pragmatics. Could you give an example? Yes, I could. Nasty Twin 34 stepped up to the mic with, if womb is pronounced womb, tomb is pronounced tomb, then shouldn't bomb be pronounced boom. I hope that blew your minds. Revigi22 stepped up to the mic with, a thief stuck a pistol in a man's ribs and said, give me your money. The gentleman, shocked by the sudden attack, said, you cannot do this, I'm a United States congressman. The thief said, in that case, you give me my money. Ultra PR0B stepped up to the mic with, what is the most expensive video streaming service at this time? College. Bruceamoose1 stepped up to the mic with, a man is dining in a fancy restaurant and there is a gorgeous redhead sitting at the next table. He has been checking her out since he sat down, but lacks the nerve to talk with her. Suddenly she sneezes, and her glass eye comes flying out of its socket toward the man. He reflexively reaches out, grabs it out of the air, and hands it back. Oh my, I am so sorry, the woman says as she pops her eye back in place. Let me buy your dinner to make it up to you, she says. They enjoy a wonderful dinner together, and afterwards they go to the theater followed by drinks. They talk, they laugh, she shares her deepest dreams and he shares his. She listens. After paying for everything, she asks him if he would like to come to her place for a nightcap and stay for breakfast. They had a wonderful, wonderful time. The next morning, she cooks a gourmet meal with all the trimmings. The guy is amazed. Everything had been so incredible. You know, he said, you are the perfect woman. Are you this nice to every guy you meet? No, she replies. You just happened to catch my eye. Oak Crush stepped up to the mic with, today I thought of a color that doesn't exist. But then I realized it was just a pigment of my imagination. Happy Emo stepped up to the mic with, what do you get if you eat 3.14 cakes? Fat. You get fat. What? You were expecting a joke about pie. On my cake day? Geesh, Happy Emo. There is nothing happy about you. Now, I'm gonna go have some pie. Verbird stepped up to the mic with, it's a shame nothing is built in the USA anymore. Just bought a TV and it said, built-in antenna. I don't even know where that is. Why Wynett stepped up to the mic with, a mob dragged a man into a police station for running over 11 people while shouting, monster, murderer, killer. The policeman dispersed the crowd and began to interrogate the suspect. The policeman, tell me what happened. The suspect, sir, I was driving home within the speed limit when my brakes failed. I had no choice but to either crash the car into a group of 10 people or to swerve into the direction of a single person. Am I a monster for deciding to swerve into the single person? No, that sounds like a difficult yet reasonable decision to make. But tell me, how did you end up killing 11 people? Well, that a-hole ran towards the other 10. How's it going? A stepped up to the mic with, all day I drill holes in metal and bolt them together. At first it's boring, then it's riveting. Brain Lumps Matter stepped up to the mic with, why did Chewbacca crash the Millennium Falcon the first time he flew it? It was a Wookiee mistake. Why not stepped up to the mic with? I tried donating blood today. Never again. Too many stupid questions. Like, whose blood is it? Where did you get it from? Why is it in a bucket? You know, I kinda wanna know too. Why is it in that bucket? Icy Demon 2717 stepped up to the mic with. 2 Canadians die and end up in hell. Satan decides to pay them a visit, so he walks into their room and sees them talking and laughing. Confused, he asks them why they're happy. They tell him, well, we're so sick of the cold where we're from, and this place is nice and toasty. Satan, annoyed, storms away and goes to Hell's boiler room, where he turns up the temperature. He goes back to the Canadian's room, along the way being begged by all sorts of people to put the heating back down. He enters the room to see the Canadians having a barbecue. Furiously, he asks them what they're doing. Well, we can't pass up this wonderful weather without getting out the barbecue. Satan realizes he's been doing the wrong thing. He goes to the boiler room and turns it down until it's at a colder temperature than ever seen on Earth. He knows he's won now, so he goes back to the Canadians' room, only to see them jumping up and down in excitement. He shouts at them in fury. Why are you still happy? They look at him and shout at the same time, hell froze over. That means the Leafs won. Alpha Monkey stepped up to the mic with. Russia is invading Finland. During the invasion, a Russian general and his troops come to a hill. They hear a voice shouting. 1 Finn can beat 10 Russians. The general laughs about it and sends 10 of his troops to go kill whoever is on the other side of the hill. There is a lot of noise and shooting, and after a while silence comes and none of the Russians return. The voice speaks once again saying, 1 Finn can beat 100 Russians. The general is a little upset by now and sends 150 of his troops to go for sure. Once again there is a lot of noise and shooting, and once again none of the Russians return. The voice speaks again. 1 Finn can beat 1,000 Russians. The general is fuming and sends 1,000 of his best men. The noise and shooting lasts way longer this time, and the silence almost settles again. 1 Russian comes crawling back over the hill bleeding from a wound. He says, I beg you, General. Don't send any more troops. It's a trap. There are 2 of them. Katu01 stepped up to the mic with. A cowboy rode into town and stopped at a saloon for a drink. Unfortunately, the locals always had a habit of picking on strangers, which he was. When he finished his drink, he found his horse had been stolen. He went back into the bar, handily flipped his gun into the air, caught it above his head without even looking, and fired a shot into the ceiling. Which one of you sidewinders stole my horse? He yelled with surprising forcefulness. No one answered. Alright. I'm gonna have another beer. And if my horse ain't back outside by the time I finish, I'm gonna do what I done in Texas. And I don't like to have to do what I done in Texas. Some of the locals shifted restlessly. The man, true to his word, had another beer, walked outside, and his horse has been returned to the post. He saddled up and started to ride out of town. The bartender wandered out of the bar and asked, Say partner, before you go, what happened in Texas? The cowboy turned back and said, I had to walk home. Moses stepped up to the mic with. Jesus can walk on water. Babies are 72% water. I can walk on babies, therefore I am 72% Jesus. I'm also 100% in jail. Seth Lord X7 stepped up to the mic with. A woman decides to surprise her husband with a brand new luxury wardrobe. While he's at work, she goes to IKEA and finds a beautiful wardrobe, buys it, and returns home. Reading the instructions, she easily assembles the marvelous piece of furniture. Then, as she stood satisfied about her work, a bus passed by the window and the whole wardrobe fell apart. Stunned, the woman assembles the wardrobe again, making sure she follows the instructions exactly. When she finishes, all looks perfect, but a few minutes later a bus passes, and again the wardrobe falls to pieces. At this point the woman has had enough, and calls customer support to explain the wardrobe she bought collapsed whenever a bus passed. The man on the other end insists that they provide any service necessary for the proper installation of their furniture, and sends over the very carpenter who designed the wardrobe to help. The carpenter watches as the woman assembles, seemingly perfectly, the wardrobe. And yet, as the next bus passes, it falls to pieces again. Determined to figure out the issue, the carpenter helps her rebuild the wardrobe and enters inside to see exactly what happens when a bus passes. Suddenly the woman's husband bursts through the front door, demanding to know why the neighbors had texted him saying a strange man had been in their house for hours. Surging through the house, he throws open doors, until he comes across the new wardrobe. He opens the wardrobe to reveal the carpenter inside, and demands to know what he was doing there. Shocked, the carpenter says, "Would you believe me if I said I'm waiting for the bus?" Recently Unearthed stepped up to the mic with, "Instead of water, I put Red Bull in the back of my coffee maker. This morning I was halfway to work before I realized I forgot my car." Nothing left to choose stepped up to the mic with. Tim decided to tie the knot with his longtime girlfriend. One evening, after the honeymoon, he was organizing his golfing equipment. His wife was standing nearby watching him. After a long period of silence, she finally speaks. "Tim, I've been thinking, now that we're married, maybe it's time you quit golfing. You spend so much time on the course. You could probably get a good price for your clubs." Tim gets this horrified look on his face. She says, "Darling, what's wrong? For a minute there you were beginning to sound like my ex-wife." "Ex-wife?" She screams, "I didn't know you were married before." "I wasn't," he replied. Why not stepped up to the mic with, "I hate it when engineering students refer to themselves as engineers, like you don't see med students calling themselves doctors. Or even art students calling themselves unemployed." Bitchy Olive stepped up to the mic with, "A stranger was seated next to little Johnny on the plane when the stranger turned to little Johnny and said, 'Let's talk. I've heard that flights will go quicker if you strike up a conversation with your fellow passenger.' Little Johnny, who had just opened his book, closed it slowly and said to the stranger, 'What would you like to discuss?' 'Oh, I don't know,' said the stranger. 'How about nuclear power?' 'Okay,' said little Johnny. 'That could be an interesting topic. But let me ask you a question first. A horse, a cow, and a deer all eat grass. The same stuff. Yet a deer excretes little pellets, while a cow turns out a flat patty. And a horse produces clumps of dried grass. Why do you suppose that is?' 'Geez,' said the stranger. 'I have no idea.' 'Well, then,' said little Johnny, 'how is it that you feel qualified to discuss nuclear power, when you don't even know poop?' And finally, Silent Night 1991 got the courage to go on stage with, "Cowboys don't roll joints. They tumble weed." Well, there you have it. A perfectly great set of jokes posted by a bunch of fine and funny citizens. Help support this channel by smashing the like and subscribe buttons. And hit that silly little bell as well to ensure you get the latest videos as they come out. Fred is always finding stuff for me to post regularly. So this is Derek signing off. Thanks for watching. Good grief, it sounds like Fred is out of his pen again. He must have found more funny jokes for me to share with you. See you soon.